course, we do have to talk a little bit about the fat stuff. So there are some very real risks of simple sugars. And we all know a lot of them, but a high sugar diet can lead to heart disease, stroke, obesity, diabetes, high blood cholesterol, cancer, and of course, as your dentist loves to tell you, cavities. People who get 25% or more of their daily calories from sugar are actually 3 times more likely to die from heart disease. People who consume 10 to 25% of their daily calories in the form of sugar face a 30% increased risk of cardiovascular disease. And these are actually quotes from both the Canadian Heart and Stroke Foundation and the Journal of the American Medical Association. So how much is too much? So according to the World Health Organization and the Canadian Heart and Stroke Foundation, they look at the term of free sugars. So what are free sugars? These are sugars that are added to food by the manufacturer, by the cook, or the consumer, plus the sugars that naturally occur in foods such as honey, syrups, and fruit juices. In 2002, the World Health Organization put out a statement saying that a total maximum of 10% of our daily calories should be from these free sugar sources. This equals about 50 grams or 12 teaspoons. But most recently, they've issued a new statement, and today they're saying for even better health results, that goal should be only 5% of total daily calories, or 25 grams, which is 6 teaspoons. So how much do we consume? Good question. This was actually even shocking to me, and it's a goal for everyone. We're all at different places. So it's actually estimated that Canadians consume 13% of their total calorie intake from added sugars. Now, this isn't the same as free sugars. So we just talked about free sugars, and there's actually no real stats on the free sugars, but if 13% of our daily intake is added sugars, imagine how much more that is once we add that free sugar description into the mix. So what are some hidden sources of sugar? Because I know a lot of you are trying to reduce your sugar. We do those things like, oh, I can cut the sugar out of my coffee, or, I won't add so much sugar to my tea. But did you know that ketchup, 1 teaspoon of sugar is found in 1 tablespoon of ketchup? No. Yes! Instant oatmeal, peaches and cream. I couldn't find the stats on maple and brown sugar, but in 1 pack of instant oatmeal, those are pretty small. Most of us will do 2 of those packs. There's 3 teaspoons of sugar in 1 pack. That's actually half of that recommended daily maximum. Fruit juice, and I'm talking 100% fruit juice here. There's 6 teaspoons of free sugars in 1 cup of apple juice. And the form of the fruit matters. So, for example, like I said, apple juice, there's 6 teaspoons of free sugar. If we look at applesauce, that's just under 6 teaspoons of free sugar, but at least we have the fiber to help balance that absorption. But in an apple, 1 cup of raw apple is just over 3 teaspoons of free sugar. So as you can see, the form of your fruit does matter. So I'm going to talk to you today about 6 simple solutions, 6 little ways that you can maybe try to look at decreasing the sugars in your diet without sacrificing taste and without sacrificing satisfaction to your taste buds. So this is one I talk to my clients a lot about. In beverages, use stevia. Has anyone here heard of stevia? Knows what stevia is? Okay, about half-half. Stevia is actually a plant. That's a picture of the stevia leaf right there. And if any of you guys come to the garden tour next year, the edible garden tour, hopefully I'm asked again, there's always a stevia plant in my garden, and you can just pinch off a little tiny bit of leaf, and it's super, super, super sweet. So you can either grow it in your garden and add to your teas, or you can actually buy it in Overweighty or other grocery stores, health food stores. And it's 100% natural, it has no calories, 0 glycemic index, and you can use it in baking as well. It does come in many forms, but a little goes a long way. So if you are buying the liquid form, just a few drops in your tea or coffee. I often say even in your plain yogurt, great way to decrease your free sugars and some other good foods. In baking, try coconut palm sugar. Anyone here heard of coconut palm sugar? Okay. I must say, this is actually my go-to. My homemade hot cocoa now uses coconut palm sugar. I've tried to substitute it into a lot of my home baking recipes. I make my cakes with coconut palm sugar. It has a low glycemic index, much lower than white sugar. Some reports have it as low as 35. And remember that white bread is 100. It has more nutrients than sugar, even though it's still not get your nutrients from your real food, though. 70% of the fructose found in white sugar. It is healthier than refined white sugar, but remember, it is still a source of free sugars. And in baking, I use it in a 1-to-1 substitution. Also in baking, boost your fiber by using whole wheat or spelt as a substitution. It's higher in fiber. This will also lower its glycemic index. It's higher in nutrients. And I tend to use a 1-to-1 substitution. I personally prefer spelt because I tend to have some wheat sensitivities. But for those of you who are fine with wheat, consider whole wheat instead. It gives your baked goods a bit of a nuttier flavor, but it does make it much more substantial and filling. Most of the recipe websites I checked out did recommend about 7/8 of a cup of whole wheat to 1 cup of white, but I find a 1-to-1 ratio just easier to remember and calculate. So for dinner, have fun with cauliflower. It sounds silly, but it's true. It's great for diabetics. It has a very low glycemic index, or celiacs. It's gluten-free, or those who are just trying to decrease gluten within their diet. It makes it great lightly mashed. It's great lightly mashed with a curry. So instead of rice, I'll cook up some cauliflower, lightly mash it, add a little bit of seasoning to it, and make that as my base and serve my curry on top. Also in shepherd's pie, it's a really great way to decrease your overall carb intake. And comfort foods can be healthy. So we're talking about things like curries and shepherd's pie, nice comfort winter, fall foods, and it's just a great way to make it yummier and healthier. So if you like your bubbles, make your juice sparkle. We talked about fruit juice having a very high sugar content, free sugars. Consider diluting your juices with water or sparkling water. So the more sparkling water you add, the less sugar is in there. So with a 1-to-1 dilution, you're going to drop that 6 teaspoons of free sugars down to 3. If you can even do a 1-to-3 dilution, you'll drop it down to 1.5 teaspoons of sugars. Better yet, substitute juice or pop with herbal or fruit teas. This has been one of my go-tos for kids that I'm trying to get off a lot of pop in their diet. If you brew some nice fruit tea, a wild berry tea, you can sweeten that with stevia, and most kids won't even notice the difference between that and their Tangs or their Kool-Aids. You can enjoy your herbal teas hot or iced. Peppermint iced tea is fabulous in the summertime as a nice refreshing drink. Add stevia if you like it sweet. 0 calories, 0 grams of sugar, 0 chemicals, 0 caffeine, 0 guilt. So consider taking on one of these or all of these. Everyone's at a different place, you know? Every little thing you can do can make a difference in your overall risk of chronic disease down the road. So just remember, every little change you make has a positive impact on your health. So some references, and thank you for your time.